Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Formula Podcast. I'm Gary Luima of First Step Legal.
RJD, the Content Factory.
And hold up now, we got another person here. You know what I'm saying? So,
we got Shalane Murray with us from Miami Gardens, physical therapist out of Miami Gardens, a real one. You feel what I'm saying? she's very knowledgeable. She knows what she's doing, but I say like she's for the people. You know what I mean? Met her at a community event. Bikes for something about biking. It was a biking
Well,
event.
hold on. So we got to put the respect on the name.
Yeah, tell me the name of it.
The name is Breaking the Cycle.
Breaking the Cycle.
Oh, that's a fire name.
Yes,
And
yes,
Breaking
yes.
the Cycle is, just as the name says.
It's a bike organization, owned by Maurice Hanks, and he does a lot for the community as well. So they were having a ride in Miami Gardens, and I was there as one of the vendors providing physical therapy, some stretches, and some pain management and education.
Yeah. So Breaking the Cycle, y'all go ahead and follow them. They doing I like how they brought the community together, and like, I always seen people riding on those bikes up and down the street, and it's usually like, you know, people that don't look like us. And then to see, like, I'm talking about 100 to 200 people riding on bikes in the whole bodysuit. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And they even had a dude with a speaker on that thing, just jamming with the speakers and cruising. So it was like a beautiful thing to kind of just see that in the neighborhood in Miami Gardens. So with that being said, Shalane, can you please introduce yourself and kind of tell us about you and your company?
Yes, so my name is Shalane Murray. I am the owner of Miami Gardens Physical Therapy and Rehab Center. We are located in the heart of Miami Gardens. We provide physical therapy services to the community, and we also try to bring the community together just to educate them on health and wellness. Also, too, we do consultations for their physical dysfunctions. And then we also have some contracts with some of the schools that are actually in the community, New Orleans Senior High School, Care City Athletic Department also, too, as well. So we're branding, we're exposing ourselves now a little bit more. We just got a contract with Silver Sneakers, so we're able now to see a lot more seniors that are in the community because we weren't allowed to be on, let me rephrase that, not allowed, but we haven't gotten an opportunity to be on a lot of insurance panels. So now that we are in the network with Silver Sneakers, we're now able to see, you know, more of a volume of patients that are in the community. So we can provide services to them, the services that they actually need to restore function, to feel better, to be more mobile, and move around and just be more functional and independent. Mm-hmm.
That's dope, man. I really appreciate you being on the podcast with us. And I'm just gonna kind of talk about like how we met, right?
Okay.
And then we can kind of go from there, how you built the business and everything. But so like, I was telling you guys how we met at the Breaking the Cycle event. Right. I was there as a videographer, working with the city of Miami Gardens, and just, you know, doing event coverage, walking around, peeping the scenes. Sometimes I have two different vibes usually. Sometimes I'm either on my Peter Parker kind of vibe, just being like a, you know what I mean, a fly on the wall, just in my little zone. And sometimes I'm gonna have to be like the life of the party and bringing out things. In this type of event, I was like a fly on the wall, you know, because it's already a lot going on. All I have to do is capture it.
Right.
So I was walking around getting the vibe of everything, and then all I hear is, "What y'all do, youth?" And of course it was your father, Godfrey Murray. And he just was just talking to me, and just you know, when you meet a real Jamaican, like an old school Jamaican, he gonna be like, "You know what to do with that camera? Let me show you." Like, you know what I mean? He gonna try to instruct you on everything, you know. But it was like from like me being Jamaican, it was like if somebody that's not Jamaican, I'm like, "Oh, hold on." But nah, for me, I was like,
feel connected.
Yeah. I felt like, okay, all right.
That was the formal greeting right there. Yeah.
And and I seen you guys was doing like stretches with the people that was riding the bikes, and I was like, these are some real deal stretches right here. Yes. You know what I mean? Yes. Like, she was out here. I'm like, so can you kind of just talk to us about like, you know, what you guys was doing out there at Miami Gardens, and kind of just go into it, like those stretches you guys was doing.
Right. So those stretches are very personalized stretches. When I say personalized, my father and myself, we actually came up with those stretches. Those stretches are called PNF stretches. PNF is the medical term is more so geared towards peripheral neuromuscular facilitation. So with that, it means we facilitate specific movements to start making sure that we can break up scar tissue in a healthy way. Even though the whole mechanism is to make you sweat, so we can release some toxins also too out of your body, so we can release some of the inflammation, the effusion that tends to seep right in between your joints. So when you work out all the time and then maybe the next morning you're sleeping and then you wake up and you're like, oh, I feel so achy. Mm-hmm. So we tend to provide those massages so we can decrease that effect, right? So we took a lot of workshops. We actually got in contact with this Tai Chi guru. And we actually drove all the way up north, and then we met with him. We sat down with him. We went over a series of stretches, the pros and the cons, what we shouldn't do, what we can do, what's something that's contraindicated, not indicated for the stretches. So we know automatically when that patient or that athlete comes to us and we're like, okay, this is a discrepancy. This is what we need to work on to balance out, their hips, make sure that they're walking better, that they can perform more adequately on their bikes, whatever they're, or even track and field, so they can be a little bit more looser and so forth. So that's the whole mechanism of those stretches. And you sweat actually with my stretches. You sweat.
I believe you. I seen how you had them grown men folded.
Oh yeah.
Folded.
Yeah. In a good way. And they feel so great. They feel so great afterwards.
Yeah.
They feel great afterwards. You got to come.
Oh yeah, nothing like a good stretch, and that's important too, because most of the time we're sitting behind a desk all day. We try to do some physical exercise, but we got to have a good, intense and in-depth stretch. Get you
absolutely,
right.
And it also helps with stress management, also too, because we tend to even driving, especially in Miami, Miami, or if you're even having that phone conversation, you're rushing to a meeting, whatever the case may be, you are actually unconsciously aware that you are actually undergoing some kind of stress response. So when you finally need that relaxation, you're on that table, you're getting that stretch, you're actually releasing all of that tension, and then you feel so much lighter when you get off that table. Wow. Yeah.
A couple episodes ago, we had a chiropractor come here.
Okay, nice.
And she showed us something we could do at a desk. Okay. Is it something that you could show us to a little stretch we could do right now, just sitting there?
And the most, maybe bring that arm over here, and then bring that arm over here.
All right.
Okay, and then you can also, too, because if your hips are tight, you can push your chair back and kind of bring, the leg over this way and kind of lean forward so you can open up your hip muscles a little bit. Because you're sitting, you're in seated position predominantly, maybe the most of the day, so you can kind of just lean forward, open up your hips. So those are some stretches. But you need to come on my table.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Get them right. Get them right. I'm going to tell you 100%, like for me, I do not stretch. I grew up running track, and my coach used to be mad at me. Like my high school coach used to be upset with me and my cousin because like before practice, we used to eat like the jumbo honey bun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jungle juice?
Yeah,
the jungle juice.
Jumbo honey bun with the
I'm kind of low-key mad that he actually knows.
Yeah.
He actually knows the brand also too. Okay. Okay.
But we was like natural born athletes. I was still like crushing it, killing everybody on that track. But we used to never stretch. I even to this day, I still don't I don't stretch like that. Right. So for someone that is not as flexible like myself, that's why I did not get on that table.
I know.
I seen how the leg was going all the way over here. I said, Lord.
I'm bringing the leg all the way to the opposite ear.
Yeah. And she gonna get it though.
Yeah.
Definitely am.
But no, that's definitely amazing. Just the kinesiology and and all those different things. But what piqued your interest to get into that industry?
Well, one day I told this story before too. I'm going to tell this story all the time because it was such a very impactful moment at that time. My dad was actually we were doing home visits, and I was actually studying at that time to become a therapist. Okay. And he went to someone's house, and he actually was trying to convince this patient to engage in doing some treatment, move around. The patient was just like, no, I'm not interested. I'll just, sign the document, and then you guys can leave. And, hey, go ahead and tell the insurance company that you, provide the treatment. We do not do that at all. It's not ethical, nor is it legal. So overall, I saw him actually, and the patient was a psych patient, so the patient actually sat down on the floor. And my dad said, you know what? he got down on the floor with him and started talking to him and just wanted to kind of connect to where he was mentally at that moment. So they had whatever conversation, I don't remember necessarily right now, but whatever my dad said to him was so motivative that he actually got up and he started to comply. He started doing those exercises and he started feeling better about himself and said, okay, well, you know what? I want you to come back tomorrow and I want you to come back the next day and the next day. So just to see the important aspect of encouraging and motivating that particular patient, and he didn't want to do anything. And then within minutes, I saw a difference with the way he responded to my dad, and then overall just started to be more enthused and wanted to kind of come up with a routine to keep this up, so he can be more healthier. So he saw the importance of being functional, and then saw the importance that, okay, you know what, this is actually good for my mental health also too as well. Yeah. So that I was like, okay, you know what, this is something I definitely want to do.
Oh, I see.
That inspired me. That took me off. I was like, okay, yep, I'm doing it. I'm going through with it. I'm completing my classes. I'm making sure I pass that board and go straight towards it. So that's what inspired me.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of layers to that, because even with that, like, okay, because he's a physical therapist, right? And a lot of times people think, okay, I'm a physical therapist or I'm this or that, right? And you think that you're just gonna come in and just do your job and leave.
Right.
But you're dealing with a whole entire human that got his own experience, that has his own reference points and all these different things. And sometimes you got to sit on that floor and just get on their level.
Absolutely, because you got to humble yourself. At the end of the day, I have this motto: we treat our patients as a whole, not just a diagnosis. So, yes, you have an ankle injury, you have a knee injury, I don't know, ACL tear, PCL tear, whatever it may be, frozen shoulder. I can name so many diagnoses, right? But we want to focus on treating the whole entire person. Yes, you're coming in with this specific diagnosis. We have the treatment. We have the skill set to provide a service so you can feel better and move better. But how can we encourage you and motivate you to still sustain yourself to carry on a healthy lifestyle overall, mind, body, and soul? Because everything is connected, it's integrated, so you can function at your highest potential. So that's always my go-to. Even when we have our patients come in, I always tell them, I said, listen, I am able to help you manage your pain. I can't help you eliminate it completely. That's something that you have to also take accountability and do on your own, because that pain could be coming from somewhere else. That pain can be coming from maybe from a psychological standpoint, because pain is actually very subjective also too. Your tolerance to pain versus RJ's and myself can be totally different. And then it could just be maybe inflammation. It could be diet, so based on, and I also ask my patients, and sometimes they look at me like, why are you asking me about my diet? And I said, because I need to know what you're consuming. And your diet is not necessarily something that you're just orally taking in. It's what you're listening to. It's what you're seeing. It's what you're being influenced by. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's always my approach. I'm very, compassionate about my treatment with my patients, and I want to make sure that they recognize that I see them as a whole, so they can be motivated as a whole and make a lifestyle change. That was too much?
Well, that was good.
That was good? Okay. Because I tend to just, Okay, next time I'll just take it off.
Yeah, just drop it on the table. Yeah.
I just want to make sure I was clear, so, and that's another reason why I also, too, that I can add on, that's what inspired me to keep going and keep pushing on and making a difference, especially in the community of Miami Gardens, so I can be that example and help them, change their lifestyles.
I'm with it. I mean, as and what you do as far as helping people with movement and different things, you don't move, you don't stretch, you get real stiff. That can affect your health and everything. Yes. So you got to get your stretches right and everything like that. So when it comes to business, what are things you do to stretch your business in order to keep it going?
Right. So what I do, we have meetings, of course. You got to have your meetings. And you have to always make sure that you can shift some things. And also, too, you have to go with time. When I say time, because healthcare changes. Everything changes. The way we reimburse, the way we do business, period. It changes. The media, the market, social media, however you want to put it, So what we tend to do is just focus on meeting the needs of the community. So when our patients come in, we do this quarterly. We'll ask them, how can we improve in specific areas? What services that you may want to, think that you would actually benefit more from. And then we see how we can implement that into the business. Of course, it has to be within health, health and legal guidelines, of course, because we still can't cross over into another discipline's line of work. We have to keep it strictly within our branch. So overall, we just want to make sure that we get into our huddles and we make sure that we are getting enough information from the community and the people that we're serving, because they're going to keep us in business. Let's be honest. They're going to keep us more engaged and keep us more motivated to keep going, because we also too have to inspire them. And then it's word of mouth, like me and RJ was talking about earlier. Word of mouth is going to keep your business going. Remember, people are going to buy into you.
Facts.
Right.
RJ preaches
you can
that.
Have, right. You can have so many. I mean, there's so many other business, physical therapy offices across South Florida, the world. Let's be honest. But what makes Shalane different from the others? You know what I mean? So we tend to want to make sure that we're personable with our clients. But when I say personable, we want to meet the needs and see if we can actually say, okay, you know what, this is definitely something that we can implement. Let's make this possible. Okay. So that's my.
That feedback loop.
It's something that you said. You said meetings and how many employees you got?
Okay, so we actually have 5 at the moment.
Oh, wow.
We have 2 PTs. We have 2 assistants, and I include them as employees, well, more so staff rather. We have actually 2 students right now, but they're amazing. And then we have my mother. She's the office manager. She's amazing. Also,
shout out to Mama.
Yeah, mom is like the head honcho. Like, she does the operation. She's my
business.
boss. Yeah, and sometimes I have to recognize, like, wait a minute, okay, Ma, okay, but you remember my name, and she's like, listen, we got to do this. So I humble myself all the time, and she's been great. Like I said, your front desk personnel is always the person that's going to let you know what's going on, and they have to, they're absorbing so much. People coming in, people going out, phone is ringing, what's needed, blah, 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 blah. So definitely, yeah. So we have 5 to answer your question.
And Mama gonna make you feel like she your mama.
Yeah. Mama gonna make sure.
I feel so safe and secure with Mama. I ain't even know her that long, but I'm like, man.
And you know what's so funny? No, yeah, and yes, and when you first meet her, she has that motherly spirit too. So by the time you come in, you get your treat, you're like, all right, Mom, I'm out the door, and I'm like, wait, that's my mom. Like, yeah, but we're gonna have to share her while we're here. I'm like, okay, that's not a problem. But she's amazing too. I couldn't have been where I am right now without her. Without her, she's amazing. I give her flowers every day. Definitely.
I want to touch on something that you said as well.
Okay.
Because I'm a big believer on a feedback loop, right? I talk to Gary all the time. Everybody that I talk to, I always say, hey, listen, when the last time you actually interviewed or asked your clients what it is they like about you, what it is they like about your services, literally just have a conversation with them. How can you better serve them? You know what I mean? And then from there, you could build something from that, So like having that feedback loop as far as like, talking to them and then implementing it into your, into your program. Of course, staying within guidelines, but being able to implement some of those things and listening to that feedback loop is just so important. And even for them to be, I feel like if I could call you and be like, hey, what you think about such and such? I'm trying to improve my services, right? And for you to be able to take your time and like give me some real feedback, I feel like that's so important. That's like almost, that's more valuable than gold. That's like, that's so that's like the core of your business right there, because the people that you're serving, having that feedback from them and then figuring out how to best do even more for them is not only going to do good for that person, but for the whole entire community.
Absolutely.
So that's real dope that you take that time to get that feedback from the community.
And you have to, because they matter. And I feel that in entrepreneurship, and it's not for everybody. I'll be honest with you.
Hey.
It really is not for everybody. When I knew I wanted to pursue entrepreneurship 100%, and let me just tell a story first real quick. At first, I didn't want to be a business owner. I was like, my dad was like, listen, Shalane, your personality, listen, I've been with you from the time you were born. I held you when you first came out. Your personality is not, you're not going to listen to other people. You don't like to be told what to do. However, even when you're an entrepreneur, you still need to be humble enough to listen to your workers, right? And listen to also and actually not be, let me change that. be advised. Say, hey, you know what do you guys need? Because you got to listen to your community also too as well. You got to listen to your staff. You got to listen to your patients. But he was right on point when he was just like, Shalane, you have to, you can't work for nobody. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to get into the nursing home component. I'm going to learn the administrative component because in nursing homes, they have like OT, occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech, and, you know, they have nursing. But then the back end of it, when you get into the admin part, that's when you learn about the billing. You learn about how to market, network, how do you get patients to come in. So on my lunch break, I would actually go and sit in the office, and my rehab director is like, Shalane, where are you? I'm like, we're about to go out for lunch. I'm like, oh, I'm not hungry. Go right ahead. Even though I'm not going to lie, sometimes I'll be starving. But I'm literally in the back with the administrator trying to figure out how is he doing what. Because I wanted to learn the right way. Even though I knew I was going to have a small outpatient clinic, I just wanted to make sure if I know how to operate something big, I know for a fact I can influence something that's going to be real small, but still push it to be big. Yeah, so that was always my go-to. And I knew when I had that kind of leadership, I knew for a fact this is what I want to do. There's no ifs or buts or maybe, no, this is what I wanted to do. But I was still apprehensive. So we got the building in Miami Gardens, we got the business, we're doing this. And my dad was like, listen, you still at the nursing home. Why haven't you taken the step to come over here yet? So I said, well, you know, let's just wait. You know, I still got my benefits over here. I'm making good money. I'm okay. He's like, Shalane, that wasn't the plan. Okay, you know what? So he didn't talk to me for 2 days. I would call, he'll hang up, and he'll call my mom, and he's like, Shalane, okay? Yeah, she's fine. She's sitting here. Okay, bye. I'm not talking to her right now. I need a moment. Then I'm like, you know what? No. I'll call him back. He'll do the same thing. He'll call my mom. Why is she calling me? Tell your daughter don't call my phone. Like, give me a break. I'm mentally processing some things here. Yeah. But you know what? God is so good, and I really got to put him to the forefront of everything because he told me, I'm so serious. God said, okay, you know what? After I did that, after my dad didn't talk to me for 2 days, I actually went to work the next day. This is the third day. They said, Shalane, we're laying you off. I said, excuse me? Mm-hmm. I'm the lead therapist. I'm learning about, now ego is involved, right? I'm learning about admit stuff. I'm learning about how to run. You know, I've been running this rehab company with you guys. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, we're laying you off. We had to lay you off and a couple other people. I'm like, I've been here for 4 years. Well, yeah, but we got to lay you off. I walked out of that job. I started laughing. They were crying, and they were like, Shalane, we're going to miss you. They were like, why are you laughing? I said, because I'm being pushed in a different direction. I know where I got to go. Mm-hmm. So I knew Miami Gardens was where I needed to be. Mm-hmm. So that was beautiful. So when I walked in, my dad was there. Oh, this is the third day. We could talk now. So you here to work? I said, yeah. Mm-hmm. They laid you off, huh? I said, yeah. So he, you know, but overall it was still, you know, if God wants to move you, he gonna move you. So he 100%. definitely did. So and I'm glad that he actually did, because I would have been so comfortable and still stuck at that nursing home, still providing services and still trying to, you know, learn the same thing that I was already learning from an admin standpoint in order to run a business successfully in rehab. So, but everything is connected. So I'm good, and now I'm here.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. That's a amazing story, because that's big blessings, because you had like the fact that he was into entrepreneurship, like Godfrey was into entrepreneurship, and he was like, yo, go ahead and what's up? What you doing? Mm-hmm. You know, usually a lot of time parents be like, nah, you go ahead and get you a job and keep it. Right. He's like, nah, you don't need to be having a job. Go ahead and run this company real quick.
Yeah. So. Because it was something, it's so funny, because I told him that's something that I want. I was like, I want a rehab center. He's like, okay. And I'm like, are you listening to me? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. It was real late at night. I remember that night. He's sitting on the couch. He's like, okay. The game is on, Shalane. You can go. And I'm like, okay.
That's just how he is too.
I left, and I'm like, okay, he ain't listening to me. I'm like, oh, let me just go home and do what I need to do and get prepared for tomorrow. And then within like months, he's like, hey, you remember that investment? Remember what we put our money together with? And da-da-da-da. So this is what I did. Was furious. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I was like, you didn't consult with me. He said, you already told me this is what you wanted. I already prayed about this.
That's it.
So this is what we're doing. Now you can sit over there and be cute and be at the nursing home and learn what you need to learn, but I got to make my money. So you let me know when you want to get on the money team. You let me know. So yeah. That was him. He was cut and dry, but he knew I was coming over there sooner or later. So, and like I said, I'm glad I did. It's so impactful just looking on the whole journey and the transition on how Miami Gardens actually physical therapy has grown to this point. So I'm blessed.
Yeah. So my question is about like building a team, right? Because I kind of just talk from my experience building a team, right? It took some years to find good team members that's on the same page. You feel what I'm saying with me? You know what I mean? Like my first person I met was like Abdul, and it took years for us. He's Jamaican, I'm Jamaican. We both at the Jerk Fest. We was able to like communicate very well. You know what I mean? Like we learned that we had a lot of the same morals and stuff like that. And then Raul, like we have a lot of the same. Like basically we almost like the same kind of people in a sense. You feel what I'm saying? So it made sense for us. We love to work hard. We love to be great at what we're doing. But like when it came to building your team at Miami Gardens, because you're Shalane, you're running the company, but it's more than just you. It's your team is a reflection of you. Mm-hmm. So how did that go for you? Like, did you have to like hire a lot of people, or fire a lot of people, or are you with the same team? Like, what was that journey as far as like recruiting, keeping?
Well, I would definitely say this. I came across a lot of people that had good intentions on wanting to be a part of my business. Now, it's really up to the entrepreneur to really look at the component of, does this person want to grow with the business, or this person just needs, that dollar and they want to pay their bills and whatever the case may be. I'm always willing to invest and make sure that, okay, the person that I'm going to be adding to this team is going to be someone that is going to actually grow. There's going to be a reciprocity component that I can invest in them and they can invest in me. It's a relationship, definitely for sure. Now, has it been moments where, certain people that have came in that wanted to be a part of Miami Gardens and a part of our team? Was it a good fit? Was it not a good fit? Yeah, of course, But I always make sure that when I do hire someone, that I know for a fact that, okay, you know what? You're only going to be here for a short term. Mm-hmm. But I want to see what you can offer us within that short term. Because it's all about growing. Yeah. So right now, even though we have 5 people on staff, we're still very, very, very diligent in what we do. We still listen to each other. We work well. There's a lot of team building. But overall, when I tend to choose, no one is ever going to really stay with you that long. I think that you have to also to realistically look at it like, okay, well, what are your personal goals? Do you actually want to be a PT or you want to be a PTA? Do you want to actually become a business owner? And then if that's the case, okay, let me drop those gems, because I'm not stingy with my information or my experiences. Not at all. Like, I want to give it to you. Let me deposit it into you, because guess what? I didn't have to pay for it. My dad and my experiences and being driven and looking up things and going to workshops in order to, make sure that I'm equipped to be in entrepreneurship. I had to do that also too as well. Mm-hmm. So I study the person too. So I always tell them, look, listen, I'm not YouTube. I want you guys to ask questions. I want to see how engaging you are, even when I'm treating, or even if you're doing your job description. I want to see if you're going to come to me and talk to me about what you feel that you can add to the business. If it's not that, that's how I know I got to wing out a couple. Mm-hmm. I can't put you in my proximal circle when it comes to my team. Mm-hmm. So we have people come and go, to answer your question directly. But they've always left. We always left on good terms. They still come back and visit, because we want to make sure that we still maintain that healthy relationship with them. Mm-hmm. But we can also say, look, maybe PT is not for you. Then okay, fine. How can I still support you? Mm-hmm. But then it still is a boundary with that, because I still have to make sure Miami Gardens is still being fed, right? So I like to keep my circle small, my team small. Because it's more intimate, we get things done a little bit more. Now, if I have multiple locations, which I'm going to give it to God and see if he's going to do that in the future. But if I have multiple locations, then of course we would expand more. Then I'll be more trying to focus on, okay, where's my team, and team building from that aspect. But right now, we're good.
Something you said is like real significant. You have people on the team invest into the vision as opposed to investing into the person. And that really helps to help everybody keep in alignment because people change, but the vision hasn't changed since your father started it.
Correct. Because let's be honest, everybody has a change of career choice. I mean, you want to come in and you want to be a therapist, or maybe you just want to say, you know what, maybe therapy is not for me. I want to do business. I want to do engineering. I want to do whatever it may be. Still maintaining those healthy relationships are important because you get to, maybe you can even use them in your business later on, depending on where your business is scaling, so you still keep those point of references, you still maintain those relationships, and you still continue to grow your business. Your team, and they can refer people to you, like, listen, these are good people. I know you want to do PT, let me refer this person. And maybe that person may come a part of our team. So we never, when I say we, I'm just speaking of the whole team. We don't never just, brush people away and say, okay, well, this is not working. Go ahead and do what you got to do. We want to see where you're good at, because trust me, where I'm weak at, you need to be good at. So, and then if it doesn't match, sooner or later they wing themselves out. But we always say, listen, wherever you can find your personal skill set or your career skill set, you let us know. However we can help, that's fine. That's fine. Because you got to grow and you got to shift and you got to, just keep moving and pushing through. Okay.
And I like how you said they'll wing themselves out.
They'll wing themselves out. Yeah.
You said wing?
Wing. Yeah.
Wing,
they'll wing themselves out. Meaning they'll tend to say, okay, you know what, this is not for me. And that's good because they're able to look at this as an experience. Like, look, okay, because I only want people that are passionate about what what we're doing when it comes to PT. You're dealing with people, and then also too, you're carrying my brand. So if you're not going to be a reflection of, and maybe you're not going to be as passionate, but at least you'll have respect enough and say, okay, well, this is where I want to grow. So this is what I need to do, and this is how I want to treat these patients, and I want to add maybe some ideas. I want to implement some suggestions to Ms. Murray and see how we can excel and scale her business. If I don't get that, then I'm going to keep you right where you are, and then eventually you will go, and then somebody else eventually comes right behind. Yeah.
It's a natural, sequence. Like I always say, like for me. 'Cause I'm very particular on who I'm around. You know what I mean? I just like that, man. You know what I mean? Like I like to just stick with the same people, bro. Like I don't know, I feel comfortable with the same, and I stick my rule like this. I keep my rule. This is my flag in the rule. I try to spend my time around people that inspire me.
Absolutely. And you need to. You definitely need to. You need to. And I noticed also too, even in this season, I was reflecting back and I said, dang, I really was pouring a lot into so many other people, and I didn't have anybody, let me rephrase that. I didn't have those same individuals pour into me at the capacity that maybe I needed. Yeah. So once again, everything is connected. Things just shift. So when you start really center focusing on what's important, and you focus on yourself, you focus on your business, you focus on your family, you focus on your faith, things just shift and they just fall off. And it's not that you don't respect them. It's not that you don't love or care about them anymore. And it's not that you necessarily outgrown them. It's just that you've shifted somewhere else, and so did they. And it's okay. It's still okay. It's still okay. I love meeting new people because it helps me learn about them, and they can learn about me, and a light bulb can go off. And like I said, everything is about a learning experience. I do enjoy my tribe, though. I do have my tribe also, too, as well, that I truly nourish and I love, and we love each other. But also, too, even with that, sometimes I can't always be stimulated with my tribe. Yeah. Because we get too comfortable in that tribe, right? So I want to be uncomfortable sometimes. Even with you guys, we just met, and we're learning about each other, so overall, you want to meet different people so you can expand, and that person can introduce you to another person, and then it becomes like this domino effect where you also too then grow as a person. Not saying you can't grow with your own tribe, but I think eventually they're going to be there. So just put them by bay just a little bit, and then, just kind of go on with your journey and see who you're going to meet along the way. And you never know. You might meet someone that might drop some more gems and give you that idea that you need to, add more, highlights to your business. So that's how I look at it.
That is such a PT response. Because everything, you stretching, body moving, flowing and everything.
See that?
You gotta
see that
flow.
motion?
Gotta
Yeah.
flow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
I
Let's
try
get
to
it.
tell you, she knows some kung fu.
man.
I try to tell y'all.
Yeah.
Hit you with the kung fu. Don't
you
run
just
up on
flow.
Shalane.
Don't, please don't. Don't do it. Don't do it.
But nah, that's so like what you were saying, like, because that's why I'm so particular about my group, because like I look for certain things, like even like okay, how he treat his mom, or how he talk to his spouse, or how he talk to his brother, or like even how he might talk to the waitress. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like little things like that. I get inspired by people that's like,
and also how him or her takes care of him or herself.
yeah,
That's key.
yeah.
Because how you take care of yourself is how you're gonna take care of this. How you're gonna show up to this. Yeah. But it's true.
Yeah, they might have the gold chain with the lion pendant on there. You know what I mean? Let me borrow that one day when I go out on a date. Or they might have the nice dress and the and the cologne, or they might just. Sometimes you can see how they take care of themselves by how they walk.
True enough. But you know what's so funny? And then be kind of, maybe I need to say that a little differently. Even though that's cute, right?
Yeah.
You got on the nice, clothing. You got on you smell good. You got the hair done. You got the nails done. You all laid. But then at the end of the day, when you take all that off, who are you? I want to know you. I want to hear your language. I want to hear your goals. I want to hear, what inspires you. I want to hear your testimony. I want that. And then also too, I get it. Some people are not as open. They're not going to be as transparent with you, which is fine. And I think it has also to do with timing and the space that they're in. So, they may not give you any feedback, but you might come across that person again and they may just start flooding you with information depending on what season they're in or what they want to do. And you never know, God can be talking through them to talk to you and vice versa. Like, hey, RJ, I remember you at that coffee shop. I know we didn't say much, but let me tell you this, da-da-da. And you're like, wait a minute, okay. So it's an experience. It's an experience.
All together. And just relating to that, I call that like frosting in the cake. You can have a bunch of frosting. Is there actual substance, under that? And even within your business, like everybody gets all the frosting, the marketing, and this and that, but as a client, what do you feel you're giving as far as a substance to your clientele that they're not going to get from nobody?
Hope. Definitely hope. When I say hope, it's because I always hear, well, I don't know if physical therapy is going to work for me because I've been to so many different other therapists, or I've been to athletic trainers, I've been to all these movement specialists, and I just have not felt better about myself. So like I told you before, I treat my patients as a whole, not just a diagnosis. So I want to know those past experiences because I don't want to be a reflection of that. So when I give a reflection of what I have to offer, my skill set, my compassion, treating that patient as a whole, now I'm different to that patient. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? So how do you feel? I feel hopeful. So that's what I'm giving. That's what I want them to receive.
It's big. Hope is huge in the healing process.
Absolutely.
Man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Because if they don't have hope, they're going to look at this like, okay, past experiences were this. I don't know if I'm going to, get better. But when they start coming and they start believing and you seem very sincere and compassionate about what you're doing, then you got that patient. So it's about developing that therapist and patient trust relationship, especially upon the initial eval. Definitely, for sure.
Hope that means that you've really committed to like you're committed to seeing them progress. Like he's committed to like that's your passion, is seeing them grow and seeing them like be able, like I'm sure you've probably seen somebody that wasn't even able to lift up his arm like this.
Right.
And then seeing them actually being able to lift weights.
Oh, man. I feel like I hit the lotto when I see that. I love it. I love it. I love it because at the end of the day, that patient came to me for services and they were able to progress it. But I'm going to say this for all PTs or all movement specialists. When we're working with a patient and we see that the particular plan or the plan of care or whatever exercise regimen that we provided to them and they're not able to comply, But let's say they comply and they get to a plateau in their function where they're not progressing. Mm-hmm. It becomes very, not discouraging, a little bit, but concerning, because we're like, wait a minute, this patient is coming to us, they're being consistent, just like when you have a diet. You're consistent with your diet, you want to see some changes. Mm-hmm. So us as being the influencers and that person that's guiding that actual patient to move and get better, we don't want to see them plateau. Or we don't want to see them not progress, so that it's questionable. So then we go back to the drawing board, and then we go back and we have to take out our our resources and go back to our books and say, okay, well, you know what, this is what's happening to this patient. Let's go deeper, which I kind of love in a sense, because it has me going back to being a student again, and I can go back to my references and go back to my books, or I can call up another PT friend or PTA friend and say, hey, this is the patient I have. What kind of treatment approach would you utilize? And this is the problem, blah, blah, blah. And we get that advice, and we talk and we see what we can do. But it's a little, and I'm going to be honest, it's a little upsetting for me, because that patient is trusting me to carry out a plan for them to get better and feel better. And if they're not progressing, I don't want to say I fully feel responsible, but I do take the accountability that, okay, there's something that I'm probably not doing or I'm missing that I need to change, or maybe the PT needs to change in their plan of care. So then we have to go back to the drawing board. But then we have to make sure that we pull that patient in emotionally and tell them, listen, give us some patience. We got this. Don't lose your hope, right? And let's continue to just work at this the best way we know how to. And then usually we'll send them back to the doctor and say, hey, let's get a revision on this, or let's get a MRI, or let's get a CAT scan, just to see if we're not missing anything. Maybe something else is going on that we missed, or maybe the doctor missed, and then we go from there. Yeah.
What's the transformation that you've seen within one of your clients that really is like, that stands out to you, that's like, okay, those days when you want to quit, it's like, oh, I remember this one story. I know this one patient. I'm like, that one thing that kind of like, yeah, this is why I'm doing.
That I want to quit, or the patient wants to
quit? No, you want to quit. When you sometimes it's not always, it's not always good. It's not always just a smooth. Sometimes it might be like, man, you know what? Miami Guard is gonna stay right there. Right?
You know what's so funny? I've never had that feeling.
Hey. No,
I've had that feeling when I was at the nursing home.
Okay,
but because we get a lot of patients that we're not progressing. Mm-hmm. We had to use the bedside manners, and we had to. The only thing that we were able to do sometimes, because they were overly medicated, we had to, reposition them in the bed and, help the CNAs, put them in we'll put them in the wheelchair, but, make sure that the CNAs are making sure that they're positioned, properly. And then sometimes that's the treatment, because the patients are overly medicated and we can't do much. So that right there, I was like, I don't know about this, because I don't feel like I'm adding value to this particular patient, nor to the profession. Mm-hmm. When I got to Miami Gardens Physical Therapy and Rehab Center, I was on go. And I never felt that way. Now, handling the business aspect, there will be times I would just go in my office on a Saturday or a Sunday. If it was a Sunday, it was after church, and I would just sit there, lights off, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, talking to God and trying to figure out, what do I need to do right now, because things are getting slow. Sometimes I don't get an answer. And then I say, okay, you know what? I'm going to go. The next morning, because he always shines his light on us in the morning, but always though. But in the mornings is different. It hits different. Mm-hmm. So he just told me, well, Shalane, you know what? You need to really focus on being patient. Don't stop. And that's what I did. But it never got to a point where I was just like, oh, I'm throwing in the towel. I'm done. Never. Never. No, only when I was at that nursing home. But at my rehab center, nah, I couldn't do it, because the looks on those patients' face when they see our team and how well they're progressing, that keeps me motivated. And I'm so, even if I'm having a day, emotionally, or I'm going through some stuff and I'm just feeling like, when I come in that office, it does something to me. I just get recharged, and I'm like, okay, I'm back in alignment. Let me do what I got to do. So To answer your question directly, I don't have those days at my office.
If you had one of those days, what's a success story that stands out to you as far as, again, like somebody who couldn't walk a certain way or do a particular movement, and you're able to, although it's challenging, you're able to get them through?
So ask that question one more time so I can answer it clearly.
As far as like a success story in somebody coming in with a limited range of motion or an issue, and you're able to push them through, and that's something that stood out to you at that time. I know you do this on a regular.
Right.
But any one of those that stood out?
Almost 15, 13 years. So it's so many stories. Yeah. I would say we had a lady, which she's actually still with us now. She's on our Silver Sneakers program. So she had a stroke. And her whole left side was affected. So her stroke was actually on the right side of her brain. And her daughter brought her in, and she didn't want to stay. And she said, this is not going to help me. I don't want physical therapy. She was at a nursing home before in her past experiences. It just didn't go in her favor, and she wasn't walking. So anyway, she came in, wheelchair, and I looked at her. My dad and myself evaluated her. We carried out a treatment plan, specifically for her. And we looked at her and told her, you will walk in 2 weeks. We got her to walk in 1 week.
Wow.
Without a walker.
Wow.
So that was awesome. And just to see how grateful she was, and how we gave her hope, right? And she stuck with us, and we impacted her. We impacted her lifestyle, and now she's still with us. And that happened like almost 3 years ago. So she's like, well, I'm not going anywhere else. I'm going to come here and make sure I can get my treatment. I can still use this as a maintenance program, and because I don't want to decline, and go from there. And I'm like, well, you can always go to the gym. She's like, no, I'm coming here. Yeah. So that was impactful. There's so many, but I think that one stood out the most because that actually happened when we first opened up our center at Miami Gardens.
That's amazing, because like even what I mean, like having elderly, your grandparents and things like that. It's like, and something like that, a story like that is like real, because it's like it helps the whole family.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Because it's like now she's able to feel, once she feels confident, it gives her some more years of life.
Absolutely.
Like on a real level,
movement, mobility, absolutely.
Because it gives her, like how you said, that hope. It gives her that person that hope. You probably gave her 10 more years.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Just strictly because of hope and her being able to move around and have that confidence of being able, not being a burden on her family, even though we always gonna be there for our grandparents.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
just within herself, knowing that,
And I have since we started receiving Silver Sneaker members, which it's predominantly a program really just for seniors. But some cases we've had like some ages between like 23, 24, depending on their disability. But overall, it's really a senior program. But just to see them come in and to say that, they actually feel better and they feel more motivated. They're traveling now more with family, and they're able just to, go to social functions and not feel like they're restricted or limited because they got to go home because they're suffering back pain or joint pain or, arthritic changes. Just to see that their lifestyle has changed since they've came to our center to receive care, that right there is impactful for me. Big time, because now I'm saying, okay, I'm really making a difference. I'm really living out, my truth and my purpose, and providing a skill set that's going to make a lifestyle change, not just for one or two, but just for all populations in that city. Yeah, for sure.
If you can, let's break down, I guess, your target audience. Like, who should I send your way?
Everybody. Send them all. All. I don't have a target audience. I target so many, populations. So just send them all.
So I can rephrase that then. What services do you provide?
Okay, so we provide, typically, the rehab services. We provide pain management. We provide massage therapy. We provide some occupational therapy techniques also too, which is occupational is where we're dealing with the upper extremity, trying to strengthen that shoulder, that elbow, or that hand. A lot of dexterity, like fine motor activities and so forth, because we also have work injured patients that come to us. Good. So if you get injured on a job, you can actually come to us for treatment and care. So sometimes we get like a wrist injury, or a shoulder injury. So predominantly you'll say, okay, well, you know what, let me send that patient to OT, but sometimes they're coming to us for PT. So we deal with that too. We have a massage therapy also too as well. We do spot massage there. Not full body, so we don't have an actual masseuse at our center. We get that question all the time. But we have a massage therapist that does come in and they do their spot massages and so forth. We have an athletic trainer. Hi, Ashley. Ashley is amazing. She's one of our athletic trainers. I think you met her at one of the events that we were at. She's been with us from the beginning. Like, now that's my team. That's one of my team members for sure. So she does. She specializes in cupping. She specializes in grassing and dry needling now, which is an acupuncture technique. So of course you have to have we have to make sure we have a script and proceed, with proper guidelines with utilizing that service. So that's pretty much it. That's what we do. That's our services.
Yeah, basically anybody that's trying to improve their mobility, basically they function, being able to perform well on the football field.
Yes.
Perform well at work, perform well at track, perform well at what you're doing, just feeling like, even bring grandma through, you know what I mean?
Everybody.
That last story kind of did make me almost drop a gangster stare thinking about my grandma.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Bring them, because they start to feel great. And to piggyback on athletes, so we also to train and rehab some international basketball players we had in the building, football players, track and field, soccer from FMU. So FLOMO.
Oh, hey.
Yep. So we serve all.
That's good stuff. Good stuff. Pro athletes, amateur athletes,
yes.
High school, minor league. If you move, you need to go Miami Gardens.
Miami Gardens Physical Therapy and Rehab Center.
There it is.
Yeah. So can you drop them all of the information on how they could follow you on Instagram? Even though
Yes. So for Instagram, it's Miami Gardens Physical Therapy PT and Rehab Center. There are 2 pages. Let me just give that disclaimer. But there is a logo that it's a man that's running. It's actually painted black, so that is the one. So it's Miami Gardens PT and Rehab Center. You can follow us on Instagram, and then also to come to our office. So we're located.
Where is it? Drop the address.
Yes, 2259 Northwest 167th Street, Miami Gardens.
You said it one time for me. I didn't write it down. I
didn't
write it down. I didn't write it down.
So we are located at 2259 Northwest 167th Street in Miami Gardens, Florida. Zip code is 33056.
Hey.
Yeah, there it is.
And you can call us. Let me give all the information, right? You can also call us at 305-952-3139.
There it is.
Yep. And then you can also just come by. Come by.
And when you call, just ask for Mama.
Right. Right.
She everybody mom now. So
yeah.
And I can see her now. She's like, who is this? Like, wait a minute. My daughter, I'm the only. I only have one daughter. Who is this? But I can just see her now. Somebody's playing on our phone. I'm like, no, it's not. Blame it on RJ. His team.
It's definitely been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, I enjoyed you
having
guys
you on the show. And I definitely love learning more about what it is that you do. Also love learning about how impactful you are in the community and how impactful you've been in everybody else's lives. And we definitely appreciate you having you on.
Thank you guys as well. And I love what you guys are doing. You're giving, entrepreneurs a platform to talk about their skill set and how they're making a difference and how they're impacting the community. So I love what you guys are doing as well. Blessings to you guys, and I hope you guys continue to move forward. Don't stop, even when things look foggy. Just keep going.
Keep going.
Movement, right? Movement.
Hey.
All right.
Yes, sir.
The Formula Podcast, where the constant is you. All right. Appreciate y'all.